All right, let's do a little bit of a walkthrough here. I'm going to be very thorough today because then I'll have to answer less questions later, and you know who you are. That's okay. I have more questions than answers, but that's not new. Okay, here's two good examples of fertilizer for your fruit that I will be using for anything that produces fruit except citrus. So this will primarily be for my tomatoes and my peppers. So these numbers, this 0 is, these three numbers are NPP, so N is nitrogen. For your green plants, your lettuce and your broccoli types, in the beginning of the season, when you want your plants to grow green leaves like tomato plants, you want a big number here and small numbers here. In the middle of the season, or whenever you, I don't know middle, but whenever you're ready for fruit, these second numbers apply for flowers and for fruiting. So I'm going to be mixing these two and supplying some to my tomatoes and my chilies, my peppers for all you gringos. We call them chilies. All right. So here's my lavender. So here's a lavender plant, and these are not in bloom. It's hard to tell, but I'll show you another plant. July 5th is the next full moon. So at the full moon or in the morning, I'm going to harvest these. And when you harvest these, if you'll see this plant, these aren't very big, so I'm not going to get, next year will be insane. But if you take a look at this plant, there's a part where it's woody. There's a part where it turns from brown woody to a greener. You want to cut above the brown part. So I have 16 of these plants, and some of these are already in bloom. I might test a batch, just a small sampling, and see how that works. Anyway, my cosmos is burnt, but the other one's fine, so I don't know, whatever. My coneflowers are starting. They're gonna bloom like crazy. It's gonna go crazy. So I might throw some of that fertilizer over here and just see what happens. Because these bee balms are still just green. The bee balms are in the front. See if I can help get the flowers to pop. And over here is rosemary. That'll be next on the list. I'm guessing they're similar to harvest as the lavender. They look the same. I don't know much about them. These are the calendulas. I finally have an orange one. Pretty cool. This will be crazy next spring. This whole area will be full. You won't see any of this brown. It'll be full flowers. So all of those are lavender hanging at the house, and more lavender here, as you can see. So there's one in bloom. You can see that it's in bloom. Kind of sunny here. But if you're making essential oil, you want 50% or more of the things that are growing taller. So in this plant right here, there's 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9, maybe 11, because there's 2 taller ones there. So when I get 4 or 5 of those in bloom, that's ready to harvest. But as soon as I get close to that number, these all look about the same in the front here, except if you look up here, this plant is far and away above the rest, but it's not in bloom yet. So once these start popping, there'll be more here. This is a different variety. than what I have in the bed below. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's go to the backyard. If you watch the 2 prior videos, you'll see the growth. It's pretty neat. So some of these peppers are small, some are bigger. I don't care, that's fine if I'd rather not have them all pop at once. Lots of flowers, lots of peppers. Seem to either be trying to start or going to become. Hopefully the boost of the fertilizer will really get these things popping. So I have a pepper here. I don't know if that's dried out or what, so it's fine. These will be fine. I will have too many peppers to deal with. And the prior video, these tomatoes were all yellow, and my amateur style of learning how to bring the acidity up worked, because they are all green and they are crushing. And if you notice, I have an automated drip system, which I didn't mention up front. So let me just do that real quick. So every single one of these pots has a dripper. So that's pretty cool. It's not complete yet. I don't have an auto watering system for the bed down here, but everything else has its own water source. So that's pretty neat, because I'll be working soon and nobody else is really going to care about these as much as I do. The onions are going to be timed perfectly. These 3 pots of onions will go into the bed, because I've got onions that are ready, and she's just going to start picking onions as she needs them. We're not going to buy onions for a long time. I'm getting better on these herbs. I harvested the sage, which is an incredible plant. This is a white sage, and I have the harvest soaking in some vodka, and that'll produce a tincture. I drank some tea with it, and it's going to be incredible. I'm going to be really making quite a bit of citronella, cinnamon, basil, sage, just a bunch of oils, and learn them one at a time. So this stuff's nice. Oh, Corona's got me. Oof. Anyway, the gift plant here with the blue rocks, the glow-in-the-dark stones, that's looking great. The leaves are good, so these are all irrigation dripped. Potatoes in the back are probably ready. I'm gonna wait a while though. I'm gonna see what happens. I've already harvested a bunch, and I'm attempting the second harvest. I transplanted a bunch in the greenhouse, and I killed one of them. I tried taking all the leaves off, see what would happen, and then I left a couple with half the leaves gone. So I'm kind of testing that. So that works out pretty good. The asparagus takes a couple seasons, I guess. So that's growing strong, and eventually that'll grow thick and strong, and we'll just be able to cut off the top and make asparagus. Some more onions. To the greenhouse, I've got the watering on, so I want to go on further. So I'm going to turn this off so that I can be more thorough, just to keep a record here. So here's all the onions, and I don't know if you'll be able to capture this in the video, but there's, these should start bulbing up, and some of these are. So she'll just come out here when she needs an onion and pop one out. I don't know how in the world I missed this, but that is a weed. Oh, I'll show you guys the weed in the front. I think I successfully grew some outstanding, beautiful weeds. I mean, they were 3 foot tall, and I didn't realize they were weeds. It's pretty funny. I think there's a weed out there. Let me go out there and look at that real quick, because it doesn't look like a weed. I'm just waiting for it to flower, but I don't know. It doesn't look like it's not the plant that's the label behind it. This plant right here, I think, is a weed. And if you look at the other video on the other side, the right side of the house, there's a big plant that's missing, and that was my most successful plant, and that was a weed. Not the weed, a weed. Because the weed would be very different. I couldn't grow that out there. You guys get it, all right? Garlic's still looking strong. 2 pepper plants. If you notice, I ripped out a ton of Brussels sprouts. It was a sad day, but they take up too much space. And I want my leek to grow. Even if it's just one of them, I have some leek plants in here. So I made some space. This is all about tomatoes and chili peppers this year. And obviously onions. We pulled a carrot out of the ground. It's a little baby one, just to kind of check it out, see where it was at. I pulled another one out. It was white. The rabbit ate them up. So again, I still can't grow strawberries, so I might put some of the fertilizer in here. But it's still green. It looks really good. So maybe I can still get some fruit from it. I need to cut some lettuce. It's really good. That corner bed over there on the other side of the greenhouse, that's the retransplanted potatoes. Let's cut this off. So there's the 2 that I killed. I cut all the leaves off and transplanted them. And these other 2, I cut half the leaves off to make it more manageable. Harvested a bunch, and then the ones in the back, I pretty much just left them alone. So those should still have huge potatoes. But I mean huge, I mean like smaller than a baseball, oblong. Okay, so I have 2 plants that look very similar. This is Feverfew, blooming. Started to bloom yesterday. Great pain reliever. I will be soaking. It's going to be hard for me to wait, but I want to wait for the full moon and do those 2. But I'm not going to have enough time because that's actually the first day of work. So I'll be up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I won't have time to do them both. So I'm going to actually cut a bunch of this Feverfew, harvest it today, soak it in some vodka, and in about 2 weeks, we should have a nice tincture. I harvested this here. This is pennyroyal. I'll show you what I have. It's like a hydrosol, and it can be poisonous. I don't know how to use it, so we're not going to ingest any of it, but it's a fantastic pest control, and we're going to use it as mosquito spray. So natural mosquito spray. My chamomile. I've been making tea from the chamomile. You just take the heads of the chamomiles. I'm not going to do it now because I'm going to come out and harvest these, and that'll be my cup of tea for bedtime. You just pop them off and you gather them and make some tea. I'm sure you can do something with the plant itself, but I'm just using it for tea right now, so that's pretty cool. There's the resurrected plant we bought that almost died. The beautiful blooming plant. So I don't know, I might try and transplant it to the front. Some oregano, and here's more of the lavender. I was trying to do like a little lavender farm here. So these are in full bloom. This plant here, this plant is technically ready to harvest. This one right here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stems coming up, and 3 of them are in bloom. 4 of them are in bloom. So that's technically ready to harvest. So it smells great in here. This lavender is incredible. So my orange tree here is flowering. We're not getting any oranges. I don't expect to get anything, but it's flowering. So that's pretty cool. Let me make sure Yeah, navel oranges. Nothing else is flowering, but it's all green and growing and looking good. That's all I want, is I just want to keep them alive and grow. And once I got this all figured out, we'll have oranges, lemons, limes, and olives all the time. Pretty cool. The garlic is still green. You got to keep the garlic wet. The spinach is out of control. I don't know. I harvested some spinach and it doesn't seem, it's not doing what I thought it would do. So I'm going to come back in and cut these short. I have to figure out how to do spinach. I really love spinach. So it's still green and growing, but the places that I cut they're done. So either I didn't do it right or it's flowering. So I think it's flowering. So better not next year. The kale is out of control. That goes to the rabbit. Once we start eating salads more consistently, I'll incorporate some kale into the salads, but it's low on the priority list. The romaine lettuce is here. I harvested some of those. You can see where the plants have been cut. That's not growing back either. So I'm not harvesting this right either. It's like just one harvest and done. I should be able to cut it somewhere so that I can continue to harvest it. The cabbage is out of control, crazy, misplaced, but it's working. I'll know how to plant that next year. I just popped flowers off the cilantro plants. I want these bushier next year. So I gotta come back. I missed some flowers. So I have to pay more attention to the cilantro. All right, the money maker. The pinto beans are vines. They're supposed to be bushes, but they're not going crazy. They're growing. It's just going to be fun to harvest these. So I might have to build another, like a wide trellis off of this. Some more chicken wire. Need some more chicken wire. Aunt B, get me some more chicken wire. All right. The corn is just crazy. I've got 5 feet of corn over there. The peas are growing up the trellis. I've got so many vine plants in here. It's way too much, but I'll know exactly what I need next year. Next year's going to be fantastic, but I have that zucchini. Okay, I know what this is. These are 2 zucchini plants. They're going to get out of control. But I just want to be able to walk through here. I don't know how long this is going to be, but if you compare this to the video before, there's just a lot more leaves. This whole area is just green. So it's all green. My problems aren't keeping it alive. My problem is how to eat it all. 2 cucumber plants. These I want to pay a lot of attention to, and I am going to come over here and put a nice trellis here so that I can move it out of the way and walk past it. Because my kid loves those. So look I have beans growing, flowers, watermelon, cantaloupe if you look down this row. So the sun being blocked seems to impede some of this. So I'll just have to remember how to do that. There's hundreds of bees here. I haven't been stung once. My wife's been stung and my daughter's been stung, so they know who the boss is. And these are pretty random here, but I think I'll figure out what they are. But so I've been told that all these plants are going to get out of control. I have people commenting that they grew 1 cantaloupe or 1 watermelon plant and it was just too much. It was out of control. So this will be fun because I have like 5 of each. So we're going to have so much food. I'll be canning some, giving it away. I'll have all kinds of squash, butternut, acorn, delicata, the other butter, not buttercup, but there's another butter one. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. Watermelon needs a lot of water. They're green, they're growing. If I get one watermelon, it'll be a success. So that's pretty cool. Just walk here, check out the growth. You compare this to the last video, this is getting out of control. But it's beautiful, I love it. So I might be able to, I got a plant growing to the other side. I might just leave it and just give them the fruit that grows on it. She doesn't like me, so free fruit would be nice. Be a gesture of kindness. First 2 pea plants I planted up this trellis here, flowering. There's peas on there. I'm gonna come by in there and just open it up and eat it. Just check it out. Oh, I got a corn plant. We got a corn plant down, Johnny. So, as you can see, if this happens, I could be in trouble because I have a thick-vined cantaloupe taking down my corn. So I have to build something over here, which is fine. It's just kind of one plant. It's pretty cool. All right, just want to show you guys a couple other things in the trenches. So I want to show you the result of distilling this is with water. This was this isn't the distilled, this is the squeezed out portion of the juice from the pennyroyal. That'll end up being bug spray because it smells just like the distilled stuff. I just distilled it on my stove using a bowl and water method. So, but I have another one that's inside that is a quart that is distilled, and they taste the same. I mean, they don't taste, they smell the same. Where is it? This. So this here would be a little oilier, but this will be bug spray. I have some spray bottles, and there's my stash of canning, fermenting stuff, sugar, brewer. I've got this here and 3 more, and my copper still is a 20-gallon. I finished making this piece. It is, so this still is just for soaking. So I added and made, just kind of reel back. I just welded some copper together. I brazed some copper together, drilled a bunch of holes. So the lavender, half of it will sit down in a bath of distilled water, and the other half will sit up here and it'll get a steam distillation. It'll oh shit, bad design. It's not gonna work. Oh, man, that sucks. I'll figure it out. This will come out this end of the pipe here, into that condenser, and the bottom of that condenser will spill out and be my hydrosol. More cans, and hay for the rabbit, alfalfa hay, some brewer's yeast, and that's pretty much it. See you guys.